So in the previous video we had discussed about head loss due to friction, which is the major head loss. Now we are going to discuss the minor losses. So in minor losses I am going to solve one of the derivation, okay, to calculate the head loss. Okay, so first let us look into what is minor losses in a pipe. So these are the list of minor losses that we have. In case of major loss we had only one loss, which is major loss due to friction. So whatever the water that is flowing in the pipe, because of the frictional resistance offered by the pipe material, the energy will get reduced. So that reduction in the energy is called as head loss. So that head loss has taken place due to the frictional resistance between the water that is flowing in the pipe and the pipe material, right? So head loss due to friction becomes the major loss, and these are the set of minor losses that we are going to understand. Okay, the first is entrance. When the water enters from the tank to a pipe, or if the water enters from a reservoir to the pipe, there a sudden energy gets reduced because the water has got the potential energy. That potential energy get converted into kinetic energy, right? So whatever the water that you have in a tank or a reservoir, it is a static water. So when that static water gets converted into kinetic energy, so in that process there is a loss that is going to take place, the energy loss that is going to take place, that is called as entrance loss. Similarly, going to the exit loss, what happens in exit loss is that the water that was already flowing in a pipe will be discharged into a tank. So the water in the tank will be of static in nature. So that's why, because of the exit also, when the water which is flowing in the pipe get exited into a tank or a reservoir, then what you see is the reduction of energy. So that reduction of energy is called as exit loss. So there is an entrance loss, that is an exit loss. When the water enters to the pipe, there is an entrance loss. When the water exits the pipe, again there is an exit loss. So these are entrance and exit loss. Now let us go to sudden enlargement and sudden contraction. Now you need to fit different type of pipe, okay, in series. Like for example, if you have a pipe of 10 centimeter, you have to expand it to 20 centimeter. There are situations like that when you are going to design a pipe network. So what happens here is, assume that this is a smaller diameter pipe and this is a larger diameter pipe. When you connect a smaller diameter pipe with a larger diameter pipe, then the energy that is there in this pipe and the energy that gets reduced over here will be different. Okay, so because of the sudden expansion of the pipe, earlier it was this dimension, suddenly the dimension increases. So let us try to evaluate what changes that might happen when there is a sudden enlargement that takes place. So first thing what you can observe is the area, right? So A1 and A2. So this is cross sectional area of the pipe, which is very small, and this is the enlarged area of that pipe. Okay, so this is the smaller pipe and this is the larger pipe. So there is an increase of area of the cross section of the pipe between these two. Now when you suddenly increase, what will be the change that will happen? So to understand this, what we can do is we can understand what is continuity equation. So let us look into continuity equation, which is Q is equals to A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2. This is what we say, right? So according to the continuity equation, the discharge in any given pipe, even though if its area varies, the discharge remains constant, right? So A1 V1 should be equal to A2 V2. Now assume A1 is a smaller diameter pipe, A2 is a larger diameter pipe. So which means A1 is area of cross section of first pipe is less compared to the second pipe, right? So because of this variation, what is the change that will happen in the velocities? Now when the area was less, the velocity was greater here compared to this one. Now when suddenly the area increases, what happens with the velocity? Velocity gets reduced, okay, the V2 gets reduced. So this change will happen when you connect two pipes, okay, of different diameters, okay, when the pipe gets enlarged. So now because of change in velocity, there will be change in pressure also. The change in pressure takes place because, as we know, the total energy at any given point is equals to P by W. So as we know this equation, which is P by W plus of V square by 2G plus Z1, right? So P is the pressure head, V is the velocity head, Z is the datum head. Now assuming that this is a completely horizontal pipe, we can eliminate Z1 and Z2, right? But coming to P1 by W and P2 by W, because of the variation of velocities, the pressure will also fluctuate, will change, right? So that is what the importance of sudden enlargement. Because of this, there will be a head loss, there will be a loss of energy that is going to take place. Okay, so we'll come back to this. I'll explain this derivation later. Let us go to what is sudden contraction. So in sudden enlargement, what happened? Two pipes are connected, one is of smaller diameter and which is connecting it to a larger diameter. So this is what enlargement means, which says that the area, the cross section area of the pipe was getting increased in the coming direction, right? So in case of sudden contraction, what happens? It goes reverse. So what is reverse? Earlier it was a larger diameter pipe, now it is getting connected to a smaller diameter pipe. So that is what the reverse that will take place. So here what happens? A1 is going to be the larger diameter, A2 is going to be the smaller diameter. So the velocity in A1 is smaller compared to the velocity in the smaller pipe, right? So this is what the change that is going to happen, and in that case, when you are connecting with a larger diameter pipe to a smaller diameter pipe, again there is a head loss that is going to take place, and this head loss we call it as head loss due to sudden contraction. Okay, so we have understood what is sudden enlargement and sudden contraction. As you can see, these corners that I am showing here, so these are as you can see, they are completely of perpendicular to each other. Now see here, right? So now what I can do is that I can try to change this format. Okay, because of this sudden enlargement, what happens is here the eddies are formed, vortices are formed here at the corners. Because of this, there will be a more head loss that is going to take place. So you cannot connect two pipes whose diameter changes suddenly. So what we do is that if you are designing for a larger pipe, we go for a gradual contraction. So what is gradual contraction means, or gradual expansion means? It will be like this. You might have seen the connection of some pipes. What they do is that at these points they create a gradual expansions or gradual contractions. Now assume that the water is flowing in this direction. This is a smaller pipe, this is a larger pipe. So here the diameter varies, okay, or it increases gradually such that it becomes the larger diameter pipe. Okay, so this kind of gradual expansion, this kinds of gradual change in the area will reduce the eddies and vortices that are formed, and by reducing these eddies and vortices which are formed at the corner, we can reduce the head loss that is going to take place. So that's why this is called as sudden enlargement or sudden contraction. In this case it is called as gradual enlargement or gradual contraction. Okay, so after this there can be an obstruction, like for example if you have a wall or something, okay, this will act as a obstruction in the flow of water, and because of the obstruction in the flow of water there can be a loss of energy. Okay, then there are pipe fittings. There are different types of pipe fittings are there. There can be bend, elbow, etc. So because of those pipe fittings also there is a loss of energy. Okay, so these are the list of head losses that will take place in case of minor conditions. Okay, so entrance, exit, sudden enlargement, sudden contraction, gradual enlargement, gradual contraction, if there is an obstruction in a pipe, and then the pipe fittings which are placed, bend, elbow, etc. So these are the minor losses in a pipe, and we have already discussed what is the major loss in the pipe. Now let us try to find out the equation to calculate the head loss due to sudden enlargement, right? So what we'll do is let us look into this figure. So this is what the figure we have. So in this figure we'll try to understand the different nomenclatures that I have written. So this is of smaller diameter pipe, this is of larger diameter pipe. So the area of this we'll call it as A1, the area of this I'll call it as A2. So similarly I can write the velocity at the first pipe as V1, the velocity at the second pipe as V2, the pressure at the pipe section 1 I'll call it as P1, the pressure at section 2 I'll call it as P2. Now if I had to calculate how much is pressure force, what I'll do is I'll multiply P1 to A1 and I'll multiply P2 to A2. So this becomes my diagram. Okay, so from this we are going to find out what is our head loss equation. So first what I'll do is, first I'll use the continuity equation. So what is your continuity equation says? Q is equals to A1 V1 A2 V2. Okay, now first let us try to interpret what is V1 and V2. So V1 and V2 from this diagram, this is V1 and this is V2, A1, this is A1 and this is A2. Okay, so discharge is going to remain constant, discharge is not going to vary with respect to time. Okay, but it will vary with respect to space. Okay, right. So once we have written the continuity equation, the next step is to go for impulse momentum equation. We have already discussed about impulse momentum equation. Sir has already explained this. What is impulse momentum equation, where it is being used? It is previously been used to find out the force in the bent pipe, right? So we are going to use the same equation. What the impulse momentum equation says, the summation of all the forces in any given direction will be equal to rate of change of momentum, right? So this is what the equation sir had given to you. So summation of all the forces in x direction, let me consider this as my x direction. So the change of momentum between them will be called as rho into q into v2x minus v1x. What is v2x? v2x is the velocity in the x direction at the section 2, 2. What is v1x? v1x is the velocity at section 1, 1 in x direction, right? So let us try to interpret what is v2x and v1x. v2x is the velocity at section 2, 2. So v2x equal to v2. So v1x is the velocity at section 1, 1, which is v1x equals to v1. So we have sorted what is v2x and what is v1x. So v2x equal to v2, v1x equals to v1. Now once we have solved this, let us try to solve what is summation of horizontal force equal. Okay, we need to take the summation of all the horizontal forces. I have already explained what is the pressure force at section 1, 1, which is equals to P1A1. The pressure force at section 2, 2 is P2A2, but we need to find out how much is the pressure in these portions, in these two portions. So what we interpret is at section 1, 1 we are considering the pressure to be P1, at section 2, 2 we are considering pressure to be P2, but we do not know how much is the pressure at this point. But after several experimental observations, what scientists have concluded is the pressure at section 1, 1 is equivalent to the pressure at this junction also. Okay, so let me assume that at this junction where the diameter is changing from smaller diameter to larger diameter, at this point the pressure is equivalent to the pressure at the section 1, 1. So here the pressure force will be equals to, let us see, this is the total area which is A2, and we need to deduct this so that we can get how much is the pressure force in these two places, right? So P1 into bracket A2 minus A1 will be the pressure here. Now we have calculated how much is the pressure at section 1, 1, we have calculated how much is pressure at section 2, and we have also calculated how much is the pressure at junction also. Now we need to take the sum of these three. Okay, so P1 A1 plus of P1 into bracket A2 minus A1 minus of P2 A2 will be equal to rho Q V2 minus V1, right? So once you have solved this, the next step is to try to simplify this. So how do we simplify this? We know Q is equals to either A1 V1 or A2 V2, but what I will do is I will take A2 V2. Okay, let me substitute Q as A2 V2. Now you try to simplify this, P1 A1, so minus of P1 A1, they will get cancelled. What is left over is P1 A2 minus of P2 A2. Okay, so from this equation we can see that A2 is common between these two. We can cancel out A2 from left and right side. So what is left over is this much. Okay, so we are taking the rho to this side. P1 minus P2 by rho is equals to V2 into bracket V2 minus V1. Okay, now let me divide G on both the side. We'll divide G on both the side, left hand side and right hand side. It will become P1 minus P2 by W. It will be rho into G is nothing but your W. So V2 into bracket V2 minus V1 divided by G. So this is what your equation. So this is the equation which you have derived from impulse momentum equation. So let us try to remember this equation for some time. Okay, we'll come back to this equation later. Okay, the next step would be, first we are use the continuity equation, next we are use impulse momentum equation, next we will use the third important like fluid flow equation, which is applying Bernoulli's equation. So let us apply the Bernoulli's equation at section 1, 1 and section 2, 2. So according to the Bernoulli's equation, we know that the total energy at section 1, 1 will be equal to the total energy at section 2, 2 plus of head loss. What is that head loss? The head loss that is taking place due to sudden enlargement. So see here. So P1 by W plus of V2 square by 2G plus of Z1 will be equal to P2 by W plus of V2 square by 2G plus Z2 plus HL. So this represents total energy at section 1, 1. This is representing the total energy at section 2, 2, and this is your head loss. And this head loss is basically because of the enlargement that is taking place. Okay, so once you have simplified this, what is next step? Let us first consider that this is completely an horizontal pipe. So considering this to be horizontal, we can make Z1 equal to Z2. We can consider Z1 equal to Z2 in case of horizontal pipe. So they get cancelled out. So what is left over is P1 minus P2 by W will be equal to V2 square minus V1 square by 2G plus of HL. Okay, so now let us look into what is P1 minus P2 by W. So we already know what is P1 minus P2 by W, which is V2 into bracket V21 minus V1 by G, right? So instead of P1 minus P2 by W, I will substitute this. Okay, so HL will be equal to P1 minus P2 by W, which is replaced by this term, which is V2 into bracket V2 minus V1 divided by G. So I will send this term to that side, it will become minus, right? So after simplification, if you try to simplify this, so what will be V2 square minus V1 V2 divided by G is there. So V2 square by 2G plus of V1 square by 2G. Now further simplifying, you can see that V1 square by 2G plus of we can say V2 square by 2G minus V2 square by 2G will be equal to V2 square by 2G itself. So I have multiplied 2 on numerator and denominator for this term. Now after simplifying, this is what I will get: V1 square plus of V2 square minus 2 V1 V2 will be equal to 2G, or we can say that this is the exponential equation, which is V1 minus V2 whole square divided by 2G. So if you want to find out how much is the head loss that is going to take place when there is a sudden enlargement, we can use this equation, which is V1 minus V2 square divided by 2G. What is V1? V1 is the velocity at the first section and V2 is the velocity at the second section. Okay, thank you.